Welcome to the Leeds That Podcast. I'm James and I'm with Rocco Dean.
Hello.
And Dara Cunningham.
Hello there.
Life is always sweeter after a win. Our favourite ground, Molineux. Second favourite ground, obviously. But before we get into that, let me just click a few buttons. Hang on, here we go. So, getting to away games can be expensive, and we know the pain of paying over the odds for trains, and that's why we're proud to partner with Train Split. They've been doing ticket splitting since 2014. They've got a great offer for Leeds That listeners where you can get £10 off any digital rail card with code Leeds10. You just add your rail card in the app for automatic discounts. You can get something like up to 33% off tickets. You sit with your mates on the away days. And so if you are heading to an away day, download Train Split and save loads of money. Use code Leeds10 for £10 off your digital rail card. Go to trainsplit.com/Leeds. The link is in the description below on your podcast player and YouTube. And yeah, it's a really cracking deal. So make sure you make the most of it.
Yeah, and 10 quid off your rail tickets cannot be sniffed at. I mean, let's face it, away days are expensive. Where you can save 10 quid, go ahead and do it. And a great time to be doing it as well as Leeds get a nice away win. So everybody's going to be really happy on their train with their 10 quid savings.
Seat selector, sit with your mates, as James said, and you can all celebrate together.
Not with your mates, even better sometimes. You have to listen to them, particularly if we lose on the way home.
Exactly that. Good stuff. So, yeah, what a day. And the Molineux Munters on is what I was referring to them. Some of them making gestures at the camera that were just absolutely shocking. I don't know if anyone picked up on that. It was very good. Yeah. It was very satisfying to watch the game, get the result, and is Molineux a happy place for us? I think it is, isn't it?
It is the happy place, isn't it? It's amazing. 3 wins in a row, and we've had pretty decent results down the years at Molineux as well. So, yeah, phenomenal stuff. Happy hunting ground.
Yeah, can't say any better than that. It's just one of those places. We're their bogey team, and we know we have our bogey teams. But we're definitely one of theirs. So even when we went 1-0 down, you're like, yeah, this ain't over yet. I don't like being 1-0 down, but it ain't over yet.
Yeah, I mean, there was no changes after last weekend, which I think Rocco last week's episode we started talking about. There's something like 25 changes in the run up in those games so far. So it's nice to come into this game feeling quite settled. I think we needed to be settled going into what was going to be a challenging fixture because Wolves haven't even got a point on the board prior to that game, and after the game they haven't got a point on the board. So the pressure was on them, particularly at home, to get a result. And I feel like us going in settled, knowing our game plan, knowing how we want to play was massive. So yeah, really, really nice to see no changes whatsoever. And it felt like there was going to be a bunch of players that wanted to right the wrongs of last week as well.
Yeah, it's another feather in Farke's cap, I think. Sticking to his guns. I mean, he came out firing in the presser before the game and sort of defended Aronson a lot and made out like he was going to start. I was still surprised that it was the same team. But it takes some balls. You know, he knows that he was going to get a lot of stick for picking Aronson and for picking the same team that lost. And if we had lost again, you know, he would have been blamed for the defeat. But he was, proven completely right because the players put in a brilliant foot. It's funny, really, because last week he said, you know, almost a perfect away performance, which I thought was nonsense. But yeah, then they actually did almost put in a perfect away performance. It was just absolutely brilliant. I was so happy watching that game.
Well, obviously I couldn't do the pod this week because I was moving house into my new house with the new studio. And I thought we played really well against Fulham. And up until maybe 2-1, when we started to kick on a little bit in the second half, I thought we would play better against Fulham. Certainly in stages and some of our patterns of play. I wasn't surprised by Aronson starting. I mean, obviously, we had injuries to Dan James and then Willie Gnonto, so there wasn't really much other option unless you wanted to really start chopping and changing things. And I don't think that's the Farke way. I think you're probably going to go with the safer option. And to be fair, I know Aronson didn't have a great game on the ball against Fulham, but I don't think that was his brief. I think his brief was to shore things up and make sure nothing came down their left side. And to that end, he had done his job. And everyone here knows I'm a harsh critic of Aronson. So I had no issue with him starting. Although I didn't think it was the game for a more defensive minded. If ever there was a chance to go away from home and put a team under the cosh early on, it was against Wolves. And it was great to see us actually go ahead and do that. And you can see it. The intent was there from the very start, wasn't it? That move down the left with Gudmundsson getting down and to the byline and flashing it across the goal.
Farke in the press conference in the week made me ponder a few things. But he said, if you deliver, you keep your place. If you're there with poor performances, a different player steps in. If I would look back, I would like to be. Oh, sorry, no, that's another quote we were saying on basically on Harry Gray. But I'll come to that. The point I was going to make is that he's calling the players out to step up, and this is what we started saying, Rocco, last week. That there's a few players that still need to step up into this, and Farke himself as well. Tactically, I think he's needed that. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to say, because players like you say, Brendan Aronson, last week I didn't think were particularly good in attack, but defensively were really, really strong. I thought Gudmundsson yesterday was absolutely brilliant, which I think we'll come on to him. But yeah, he was talking about being brave enough to play young players, because I think he was asked about Harry Gray being in the squad because he had a blinder in the week for the under-21s, and yeah, I think everyone was keen to see Harry Gray going into this game, and it was good to see him on the bench, purely because I think everyone's so worried about where attacks are going to come from. So we almost hark back to the O'Leary days and get the kids on. Someone might create something. It's all a bit of panic, isn't it? But there's no panic. We had some nice clean cut chances. I mean, a bit shaky with the first goal. You thought, oh no, here we go. When Wolves scored, and there's such a massive gap from midfield into defence, where he basically just sort of ran through, didn't he? And Longstaff didn't really pick him up. Defence hadn't really sorted themselves out, and you just thought, yeah, as I say, here we go again.
Once I actually saw the goal, like I wasn't able to watch it live, so I sort of saw all the reaction on Twitter. But when I saw the goal, I mean, it wasn't, I don't know, I think it was just a moment of quality from Wolves. I mean, Wolves were poor, but I think that was a really well-worked goal, and, you know, great run from midfield. It's the typical thing, you know, you're looking at it from critical eyes as a Leeds fan, and, you know, some people are saying it's like far too easy. I think it was a great bit of play, and we didn't defend it well enough. But, you know, just a moment of quality. So, I wasn't blaming anyone in particular, really. Might be being too kind, having won, maybe just rose-tinted glasses, but yeah, not horrendous.
I think as well on that, because Gudmundsson had the effort where he just ran through, didn't he? And then didn't have the shot. He placed it, across the 6-yard box. And then they scored pretty soon after, I think it was, if I remember rightly, that you just thought, oh God. But yeah, sorry, Dara, cut you off then.
No, you didn't, because I wasn't going to say it. Well, actually, bring it back to Harry Gray for 1 minute. And you mentioned the O'Leary one. And if we all remember back in the day, there was a certain George Graham who was saying that Woodgate, Smith, McPhail were not ready. And the first thing O'Leary did was throw those into the team, and they absolutely excelled. I don't buy into the whole thing of Harry Gray's not ready yet. If you're scoring in the under-23s, no matter how good no matter how bad the opposition are or what age you are, then you deserve a chance with the first team. Now, whether that's starting, coming off the bench, or even just travelling with the squad, that's up to Farke to decide, and he's obviously decided that it's travelling with the squad. But I'm not saying he's ready because he scored a hat-trick against Scunthorpe Reserves, don't get me wrong. But I see a lot of quality in that player, and sometimes you just got to give a guy a chance and let's see how he goes. So that's my take on the Harry Gray. As for the Wolves goal, I was disgusted with our defending. I agree with Rocco. It all worked out for them. It turned out to be a good goal from their perspective. But I mean, Pascal had pushed up on the left-hand side to support Gudmundsson. And then when the striker ran across in that same direction, Rodon should have left him. Because what ended up happening was he got the bounce off him anyway. And Rodon had tracked him in to the left-hand side and completely vacated the middle. If you watch Longstaff, it's easy to criticise Longstaff on that one and say it was his fault for not tracking his runner, but he actually did track his runner. That run comes from near enough the halfway line, and Longstaff tracks him the whole way. It was just a really quality ball that he just missed out on by, a fraction of an inch. And if he cuts that out, then that whole run from the midfielder is completely pointless, which happens at every game. Like every midfielder makes that run, and 9 times out of 10 they don't get it.
I knew you were going to defend Longstaff there, Dara. Like,
obviously,
he's the biggest fan.
It's funny actually. My brother pulled up to the house earlier. He's like, which number is it? I was like, number 8. Sean Longstaff. I was like, so I got to start calling me House Longstaff from now on.
I love Longstaff. I absolutely love him. I think
him.
he's just class. What a signing.
Yeah, he's so
actually,
good.
Can I even talk about him for a bit? I just thought he was brilliant yesterday. There was 3 things he did which I thought were absolutely brilliant. One was he won the ball on the halfway line to set up the free kick for the goal. So that was a brilliant standing tackle. The guy looked like he'd gotten past him, and he kind of bends his leg around him. The other one was the block he made. So he throws himself at the ball. The guy dummies the shot, and he gets up and then throws himself again to get a block in towards the end, which I thought was brilliant. But the best thing I saw him do, which would go completely unnoticed, was when Ampadu had pushed right up into the number 10 position, following his man, and tried to win the ball. And what doesn't happen to Ampadu very often is he didn't win the ball. He got turned and the ball broke, and I thought, oh no. And obviously you can't see the pitch, you can't see the full pitch on your screen. And I'm like, oh no, if Ampadu is out of position, the whole midfield is open. And as it got played into that number 4 position where Ampadu would be, who was there? Sean Longstaff. And he was so switched on as a Premier League player to recognise Ampadu's gone, I have to cover for him. And I just thought, brilliant. It'll go completely unnoticed, but you know, that type of thing saves you like goals in the Premier League. We saw that with Mark Rocca, who I hate with a passion, who didn't do things like that. You know, Weston McKennie didn't do things like that, and that's why we got played through like a bad fiddle in that season. But I just love Sean Longstaff. I just think he is the tonic we needed to grind out these results with the style that we're going about playing with.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I feel really harsh for saying it was Longstaff's fault. But I think when you watch the replay, it's just like he's the only man running back for him, so it's easy for you to be like, yeah, it's his fault. But I think as on that, I would say, well, there's plenty for us to talk about, but I'd say Ampadu still is the glue for Leeds United. We said it last week. What did he cost us? I was trying to remember earlier. Was it like £7 million? Yeah. And we just completely overlook the fact that his Premier League quality is so good. His reading of the game, his reading in the sense of, you know, what's happening in front of him, but also trying to dictate what happens as well. The way he can just slow things down in quite pressurized situations for Leeds to just sort of steady themselves is amazing. I think there was a stat, was it something like 37 games of the... I'm not even going to pretend to remember. It's Johnny Cooper, who's going to be on the podcast actually in the next international break. It was a good stat around his appearances, and basically we're loads better off when he's in the team.
67%, I think, something like that. Win percentage, something. Honestly, I watched that game, and Ampadu is just phenomenal. He's a beautiful player. He is. I think he's Champions League standard. I think if he played for Leipzig, he'd be going for 80 million or like 60 million in the summer. I mean, Jude Bellingham. Not Jude. What's his brother called? Joe. Jude's quite good. Joe is a fraud. And we've got Ampadu, and they've spent 40 million on Joe Bellingham. I mean, that's bonkers. Ampadu is seriously superb. He's I think he's every bit as good as Phillips was, or very early days. But, you know, in that first Premier League season, Phillips was just awesome. Obviously got an England team. Ampadu looks just as good. He's just so tidy.
24 years of age, isn't he? And he's our captain, and he's honestly phenomenal. I love watching Ampadu play.
I think he's come on a lot though as well. I think he probably was a £7 million player when we bought him, and I think it's down to Farke's man management that he's managed to tap into the leadership qualities within him to get that out of him. Because when Ampadu plays, everyone plays better. He sets the tone for absolutely everything we do. And do you remember the shot he had from outside the box?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I actually turned around to my brother when I watched that. I was like, that wasn't a shot to go in. That was a sign to the rest of the lads to take a shot. He was laying down the marker. If you get in this position and it opens up for you, don't be afraid to have a shot. So that was leadership from him. I don't think for 1 second he expected to score that. I think that was the captain telling the rest of the team, have a shot. Don't try and walk it into the goal. Because if you think it was just before that, Okafor had just He got into the box. He could have had a shot, and then he tried to beat another man, and they just got a toe on it, and it trickled out to the left hand side out for a throw in or something. Like, just shoot, just bloody shoot. And the next thing that Ampadu did was take that shot. And I just think it's those minute details of a player. It's not always about what they do, it's about how they lead. And we have a cracking leader, lads. He's back to the 60s, 70s, 80s style leadership. I just think he's a brilliant player. And like Calvin Phillips, hopefully he gets a call up for England.
Well, with funny you should mention that, but Farke sort of went in his post-match with Value TV. He talked about forcing the goal, and he was mad at Goodmanson for not shooting and trying and squaring it across the box, and just saying, you've got to take chances because you don't know whether something's going to deflect off someone and go in the goal. And ironically, he did kind of walk the ball as far as it could go towards the goal. But yeah, that was another one of those key moments. And I thought as well, obviously jumping around to what people have said, and obviously we can touch on it now, but DCL's header was an absolute beauty as well. The crossing from Bogle from really deep was brilliant. But yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin to get in the middle of those two players, direct it into the corner, is just such a good header, and that's why we bought him. We've been talking about it since the start of the season. We talked about his goals in his peak year at Everton, and there was so many headers where he got into good positions in the box. As I say, we've talked about it, and he's finally delivered on what we've been seeking. And Rocco, last week we talked about volume of crosses from Leeds as well, and it's not as high as it should have been. And here we go. We got one from deep, and DCL gets his chance and nudges it in. Beautiful, and then runs over to the Leeds fans to celebrate.
Yeah, the thing that I liked most about the goal was that none of the players smiled at all. Like, they were all just like completely focused, business, like, we've got the goal. Now we go and win it. But what a header. I mean, that was amazing. And the cross, it did take a little deflection off the guy's back. So it looped up, took the pace off the ball. He had to put all the pace and generate all the power for that header. It was absolutely fantastic. And the other thing as well, like when I first saw it, I thought, oh, well, the keeper's had a nightmare. He's come. He's, a bit in no man's land. I think even if he stays on his line in perfect position, I don't think he's saving that. It's right in the corner. It's a really fantastic header. And all day, Calvert-Lewin was the type of striker that I've been yearning for years. Not to hate on a certain somebody, but, he offers things that we haven't had. He battles, he wins balls, he chests it down, he flicks it on, giving needle to defenders. Like in the very first minute, their defender had a bit of argy-bargy with him.
Oh, they were popping at one another, weren't they?
Yeah. Within 20 seconds, he'd gone through him. I mean,
yeah.
I just loved that. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, great stuff from Calvert-Lewin. I was skeptical right up until this weekend, but now is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
One thing we've overlooked about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's from Yorkshire. It's so nice hearing a Yorkshire striker. Why is that? It's just lovely.
I thought DCL was brilliant. As you say, Rocco, I love that kind of battling performance. There was that one as well where the defender thought he slapped him in the mouth as they were running for the ball. Yeah. And he just knew, everyone knew he was going to foul him. Everyone knew he was going to foul him. Like, what an idiot to do that. But I mean, we talk about being a difference maker and needing a difference maker. That goal was a difference maker because the quality of it was brilliant. As you said, Rocco, he had to do so much with it. I don't think there's many strikers would have scored that. And I actually got embarrassed because I did only Leeds Bros on Friday night, and I spoke about the Haaland goal, which was exactly like that. And I specifically said, we have no one who could do that, where the ball's just chipped in and you have to head it into the exact right point where, it goes over the keeper and into the corner. And it's exactly the goal that we scored in the end. So, I mean, the quality behind that just shone through. But what was really interesting about it as well was the cross. So, we have Stach on these set pieces because you want people to whip it in, like Premier League style, whipping the ball in. But that ball wasn't whipped in. That ball was just lofted into the box, and Calvert-Lewin judged the flight of the ball better than the two centre-backs and then put a brilliant header in. So please, take Stach off the cross free kicks. He's fine for the shot free kicks, but just lift the ball into the box and let the tall players and the big headers of the ball just attack it and have a go at it.
I think as well, we often think of a cross as being your right winger and your right back or your left back left winger, overlapping, going as far to the byline as possible, crossing it in. But actually, it's probably one of the worst places to do it because defensively, your line's sorted out. Structurally, they're in a much better position to try and clear it. But actually, from deep, you're already potentially got players out of position and moving in a weird way, or trying to rush back to get him to position. So, and you could see second half, where were Wolves putting all the balls in from? They were all from the right-hand side deep. They were trying to emulate that, basically. And there was a couple that were really good and put us under immense pressure. So, yeah, I think we've probably got to change our perception as fans as to what a cross actually means. There's all sorts of different crosses, isn't there? But, yeah, the point I was going to make on DCL and what he said in his post... DCL. Well, I'm not going to get used to that, I don't think. And his post-match about Goodmanson was he was saying that when Goodmanson could have had that shot was I think he went to the back post with his pass and DCL was going to the front, and later on he went to the back post and one went to the front. He said we're still trying to figure out one another's play and read one another, and this goes back to what we said right at the start, the 25 changes we've had in the team so far before that game. The more they play with one another, this is a new bunch of players only 6 or 7 weeks ago, the more they play with one another, the more they'll be able to read one another, the more chances they'll actually get. DCL obviously collected the ball on the edge of the box, pass from Brendan Aronson. You could see him sort of slow his run ever so slightly because he knew someone was going to come through the back of him to win the free kick. Brilliant. Exactly what we needed. Free kick in a horrible position for Wolves.
Then Declan Rice stepped up, whipped it into the top corner. I'll tell you what, though, on Match of the Day, there was slacking off the goalie's
Oh,
position.
not Murphy. God, yeah, it was a joke, wasn't it?
What the hell? He wanted him to basically stand on the post and leave the whole rest of the goal open. Like it was almost central position, the free kick anyway.
Unless it's Liverpool, it's crap, as it is down there.
Yeah. But I mean, I honestly think I can't remember a better free kick scored by Leeds since McAllister against Arsenal, specifically in 1993. So, yeah, that's as high a praise as I can give it. It was just a phenomenal strike.
Ampadu's run out of
not remember Ian Hart against Deportivo?
Nah,
never.
Nah, it was average.
Go on, Dara, sorry, mate.
The best thing for me about that was the intent of winning the ball and attacking. You know, like, as I say, praise for my main man, Sean Longstaff, winning that ball on the halfway line. But just the minute he won it, everyone sprinted forward. It almost set the tone for the third goal as well. Everyone just sprinted forward. And Aronson. Sorry, I was doing a Jerry Lynch there. Aronson with a world-class step over that completely did nothing to the defender. It was almost, his leg was almost in the air, never mind going around the ball.
I feel sorry for Brendan. He's overhated, isn't he? I would say.
I'm starting to warm to him a little bit, and I like, you know, as I say, I'm probably one of his biggest haters. But now that he's not down to attack all the time, you know, now that he's there, I know what he's in for. He's in there to hassle and harry and defend. I'm kind of like, yeah, he's good at that. I can get behind his performances when it comes to that.
But he does, he does help the attack.
Was hilarious.
His movement helps the attack. You know, just even taking up defenders' attention. You know, they do have to track him, even if they don't think that he's going to do much with it. And yeah, I thought he played well. And the other thing I was going to say was Bielsa went into detail about this in a presser the other day, like saying that he'll rate players on two things: physical performance and technical performance.
It was good.
Yeah, it was really good. Obviously, technical performance is more important, but you know, they value the physical performance. Of course, they do. So, it makes sense that a manager. I mean, he's a manager's dream, isn't he? Like, I know that he's wasteful and etc. But I mean, I think like players like Aronson probably drive other players on. Like, you could turn up to training and Aronson's bombing around like that and working as hard as he does. You know, you have no choice but to do the same. Otherwise, you're not going to play. And, you know, maybe that's why players like Ramazani haven't made it at Leeds, you know, because they're not willing to do what Aronson does. Like, how can a manager pick a player who's, you know, not putting in what another player might do? So, you know, it's not just a case of who's better. And Aronson, yeah, I mean, he wasn't great, was he? But again, he's valuable. You know, he's valuable in that win.
It's funny you should say that, actually, because it's one of the things that I've started to come around to Aronson on, is his ability to listen to a manager and do exactly what's required. And you think about it, like, there's probably a lot of players who didn't make it in top class football, not because of their ability. Everyone can at that level, anyone can control a really difficult ball and maybe beat a man and have a shot, but they might not be switched on tactically and be able to take in the instructions. And I think he's probably the opposite. I don't think he's that good technically, but when it comes to doing exactly what the manager says and being completely switched on to the role you've been told to play, he's obviously world class at that, because he's managed to make a career out of it, despite the fact that his technical ability isn't, I don't believe, really up to scratch. So fair play to him for getting the best out of his ability. It's interesting because I've never seen a player like that before, but he does it very, very well.
We won't talk about it too much longer, but all I would say is that I think it comes from a place where when we're not creating much, you often see the ball fall to his feet. And then when he doesn't create anything from it, you're like, oh, come on, there's got to be something better than this. But in a game where we create things from multiple places, we are the better side overall, he's fine. But in a game where you're really struggling, that's where you kind of pray you want more. But yeah, I think with the free kick, they were very smart. I think they moved it back ever so slightly to get a better angle on the goal. And Ampadu's run out of the little mini wall was brilliant as well, because I think that sort of deterred the keeper somewhat as well. But then, yeah, it felt like the goals were going to pour after that. I think Wolves, yes, they made a mistake playing it out from the back with Stach intercepting it. But again, we talked about this last week. We've talked about it back in the summer as well, is that we were trying to sign players that were very good at reading the game and at intercepting, and Stach is in a good position to be able to pick that up and then quickly slide it out to Okafor. But we were just so clinical. We've prayed for a clinical forward line for a number of years, and to see that in one game was brilliant, because we had I think our XG was less than 1, was it, I want to say. We have just taken our chances. So
I love the midfield the most, like the way that they just harry. They just, the amount of balls they won in midfield, and yeah, obviously that was an example of it. But yeah, they're just so dogged, like the intensity that they play at as well, and tackles, obviously not flying into tackles like the olden days, but nipping at people's ankles and giving them little barges here and there. Like we just look like a really good, solid, seasoned, energetic, buoyant midfield, and I just absolutely love that. It was a brilliant midfield performance, and it's right that it set up the goal. And what a great finish by Okafor, who, yeah, I think he looked really good again. I mean, fair enough, he loses possession a bit, but I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's a hard worker, he's up and down the wing. I think he's everything that we need or that we would want, and he can clearly finish. Oh, I hope he can. I hope it wasn't a one-off. But it was a cracking finish. It wasn't easy, that.
Yeah, if I could actually just bring it back to that Danny Murphy comment before we move on.
The anger's been brewing.
This has been bugging me, right? So we all know I play a bit of tennis, right? And it's all about the split step, and in fencing and in goalkeeping, the split step is really important. So I watched the split step to see, did he take a little step to the side of the wall, which would have been his right, and he didn't. He didn't gamble on it going to the other side. He literally stayed central and did a perfect split step, which gave him the ability to go left or right. It was powerful. That there's nothing he could. He did try. That's what I'm talking about. I thought it was which was so well hit and so powerful that on the Okafor, there was only ever going to be version and so middle. And what a brilliant finish. Keeper did really well to get a hand on it. Probably made it look a little less spectacular, a little less smooth than it should have been. But fair play to Okafor. And I think from a Leeds perspective, how brilliant is it for us to have those two off the mark, DCL and Okafor now, with their first goals of the season, and now brimming with confidence going into an Ellen Road game next week.
Yeah, very good. I think we're having a bit of connection issues with your line, Dara, since you moved house, downgraded your broadband. Leeds, that'll have to sort that out with our sponsorship funds. Yeah, I mean, to the point we made earlier as well around crosses, I think I looked at the stats, and Wolves have had most crosses of any Premier League side this season as well, which tells you everything.
Only because of Saturday.
Well, yeah, I mean, pumping it from deep into the box.
They weren't good, were they, Wolves? To be fair,
terrible.
As much as I'd love to wax lyrical about us, they were garbage.
Yeah, really bad. Worrying for them. 0 points after 5 games. Aston Villa's start to the season is not great as well. But yeah, I mean, it's still early days and people can all of a sudden hit form. But I think really the thing to think about from our perspective is it's so good to pick up points. I know that's such an obvious thing to say, but if you get to a point where you're not picking up points in 3 or 4 games, all of a sudden the pressure is on. So we might have spells where we pick up 1 or 2 points in 3 or 4 games, and that's kind of okay, and the odd win here and there. But I think it was such an important game to get something from, and I think I would have accepted and been all right with the point, but getting 3 was brilliant, so good.
Should we talk about Darlow, my hero? My God. He's class. He's really, really good. Like, I know he made a couple of saves, and I liked the one low down the best, to be honest. But like commanding of his area, decision making, catching stuff. There was one at the end where a cross comes in and he fists it away. He flattens both Rodon and Strauch to get that ball clear. And as much as I love Farke, and I'd love to go on a big rant about how brilliant he is, what on earth was he doing, giving Meslier as long as he did when Darlow's there, sat on the bench? It's incredible.
It's funny, I never thought of it from that angle, but I did take a note there when James was mentioned that Farke had said, if you deliver, you keep your place. No one's delivered more than Darlow. Like, that's the truth of it. So we could be in a situation. Yeah, exactly. We could be in a situation where we spent 16 million quid on an international, Champions League, was it Champions League or, European football anyway, goalkeeper who can't get into our team because on merit, Darlow deserves his place. Useless in the cup, great in the league. So he fits the Leeds mold perfectly. But some of those saves were brilliant. Like that one low down to his left hand side, later on in the second half was absolutely brilliant. Like, just what can you say about him? Just fair play to him coming in, solid as a rock. And I never thought of it from the perspective of the Meslier situation, Rocco. But you're dead right. Like, what was the point in that?
Sometimes when now that I think about the two and compare them, sometimes when Meslier would make a save, he'd look sort of stressed after it, wouldn't he? Darlow just looks like cool all the time. He'll like pull off a world, and he's just like, yeah, that's kind of what I do. He's such a good-looking, smooth guy. When I think about it, I've not really thought about it until you started making the comparisons now, Rocco. But yeah, I think he's probably one of my favourite human beings of all time.
Do you often think about how good-looking men are?
Yeah, obviously. Do you not?
You and him have very similar hair.
Mine's a bit wilder than his. They're always well kept footballers, aren't they? Very pristine. Yeah. What a man. No, I agree. Keep him in. Perry out. Put Perry
out. Cash in.
Yeah. Anything else to pluck out from the game? Referee.
Yep.
Was he all right?
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely superb. Yeah. The amount of fouls that he didn't give that. Like rubbish referees just give them because it's easy to give them.
Both ways as well, yeah.
Yeah. If anything, he probably favoured us, which is why I was so happy with him. But no, he was great. Strauch again, awesome. He's had a brilliant start to the season. Rodon proving that his Premiership quality again.
Yeah, that's true.
Up against that Strand Larsen guy, absolutely no problem. Just like a Championship striker to him. Brilliant, almost perfect performance.
Actually, Rodon is worth having a chat about because he has gone under the radar from the start of the season. I think he's been absolutely superb in the sense of, the best defenders just do their job nice and quietly. Like the amount of times that players have been in and he just uses his pace to just get there ahead of them and then brings the ball out to the side and lumps it back up the pitch or plays in onto Bogle. He is going about his job so well and so efficiently that you barely notice him. He's been like a Rolls Royce this season. I think he's been absolutely classic. I know people are giving Strauch his praise, and rightly so, other than the Arsenal game. But I think Rodon's been even better than him because he's not that spectacular or whatever. He's just been rock solid to the point where you don't notice it because he's cutting out danger before it becomes danger. I think he's been brilliant, and every credit to him.
breaking the lines as well with his passing, isn't he? Like a lot of balls, like beyond midfield, up to Calvert-Lewin for Calvert-Lewin to pop off, to his feet and stuff. It's lovely.
Football's a weird sport, isn't it? Because sometimes you way more engage from just watching the attacking play. But when you actually sit back and watch, you feel that more at Ellen Road, where you're watching everything all the time and you're not distracted at all. That you do pick up on Rodon's performance, Pascal Stroke's performance, but there's a lot of time you take it for granted, like you say, where they just do the work and do a solid job, and you put more emphasis on players like Jayden Bogle, for instance, supporting an attack, who will be a massive loss if he's picked up a bad injury. It's not good to see him hobbling at the end.
We heard anything yet? Don't think no one said anything, have they?
They probably won't. Well, someone usually sees them out in a Tesco's in one of those bloody grey medical boots, and then it's on Twitter, and then everyone has a panic.
I've got a question.
Go on.
Whatever happened to stretchers? Why did he have to hobble all the way down the tunnel? Where are stretchers? Why aren't they a thing anymore? Very weird.
Don't know. Post-COVID, maybe I don't know. Is it too World War II? I don't know.
Bring back stretchers.
Yeah. Man of the match. This is
Ampadu for me. Tough one, but I'm going Ampadu. I just thought he was so classy.
You could pick anyone, couldn't you? I thought Goodmanson was really good as well. I thought he was really, really good, and especially the fact that he put on a bit of a Firpo show and got down to the byline a couple of times into the box and was flashing stuff across the box. So two good chances he did, actually, very early on and very late on. Very Firpo-esque, and we all know he's really solid at the back. So I thought he had a really good game, but I'll go with DCL just purely for the fact that he obviously made a big difference with that header. I don't think anyone else in the pitch scores that header, and then he's clever enough to win the free kick, which we get a goal off, and obviously that battle against the centre back, I really enjoyed that as well. So that's a good one. Actually, fairness to Shane in the comments there, Darlow as well. Yeah, he's definitely worth a shout there as well. So
any more, Dara?
A few contenders.
James, who's yours?
That was men of the match. Well, I think this is where I'm struggling, because there were so many good performances, but I think I'm going to pick Stach, because he got a goal, amazing goal, got the assist, and a complete turnaround from last week. Last week we both said that it was just an off performance, an off day, and to bounce back when you've had an off day just shows a class player. I think he's brilliant, but yeah, really tough, because I think they're all amazing, and just Stach for the things that I mentioned more than anything. So
I also wanted to say the substitutes when they came on, like seeing them, their intensity, sprinting around Harrison, Tanaka, Metcher as well, like the intensity that they came on and added to the team as people were tiring. I mean, that goes a long way as well. I mean, fair enough. Like the 100% effort is the minimum requirement, but it doesn't mean you always get it. And, the fact that every player in the squad is like giving their all for the results, even when you're 3-1 up, so there's a bit of a cushion there, but they were playing relegation was on the line, or European football. And it's just great to see. Again, like another tick for Farke, the way that he's got those players playing for Leeds, like, it's easy to just like bypass it, but like I just love this from a Leeds team. Like it's not, we've not seen it much in the Premier League, have we, for the last 25 years? So I massively, massively value it.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right as well, Rocco, because not every player that comes on makes an impact and runs around. If you remember last season, Joseph, there was a spell he went through where he looked like he wasn't even trying, and due to his attitude this season, you could be forgiven for thinking that actually was the case. But how good is it to be a newly promoted side who can bring someone of Ao Tanaka's ability in off the bench? Like, that's absolutely incredible for a newly promoted team. Now, I know he was obviously cheap, but we know he's a top player, and he's going to have a huge part to play this season. At the minute, those three have the midfield on lockdown, and that long may that continue. Hopefully that continues for the whole season, but let's face it, there's going to be some rotation, there's going to be some injuries, and Tanaka's going to come in and play a big part as well. So just the quality that's coming out through the squad, I think, is starting to really ramp up. But can I have a word on Okafor, please? So
Definitely.
we see a bit online.
You can have Okafor.
Well,
Oh,
actually, James, I think you picked out somebody who'd slag it off Okafor, said he was crap on
Oh yeah.
on Twitter, and you retweeted.
Garbage
Oh,
man.
yeah, he was rubbish. Your man said he was
He
rubbish.
got annoyed at me, that guy. He sent me a very bitter reply for calling
Really?
him out. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I didn't know
I was
that,
only
but
joking.
I'm going to get stuck in now on that guy, and anyone else who had a moan at Okafor, right? So last week, this podcast was titled "Are we ever going to score again?" Up until 3 p.m. on Saturday, we were all panicking that we weren't going to create chances, and yet the same people who are giving out that we're not going to create chances are complaining when someone tries to take players on and create a chance and loses the ball. Like, there is an element of risk in being creative. That's how it works, okay? You cannot be extremely creative unless you take some risks. And Okafor is clearly the guy on our team who's going to take the risk to try and take a man on, to try and open up some space, to try and create the chance. So, yes, he's going to lose the ball, probably more than everyone else, but he's also going to create some chances. So we can't have it both ways. You can't say, we're terrified we're never going to score a goal again and we're not very attacking, but then complain when our attacking players take a risk and lose the ball.
Yeah.
And those things come hand in hand. So I thought Okafor, yes, continue to take on your man. Absolutely continue to take on your man. 9 times out of 10, the defender, well, not 9 times, more often than not, the defender will defend. It's easier to defend than it is to attack. There's a reason behind that. But on the occasions that he does get through, he will cause problems, and we need him to keep doing that. We can't have him go into his shell and revert to type and go backwards or sideways or whatever way it might be. He needs to have the license to lose the ball, but by being creative and attacking.
The thing is you can't just pump the ball into the channel and then wait for Wolves to pick it up or a team to pick it up to then come back at you and you're already sat deep. You need a player like Okafor to have the ball, run at them, get us up the pitch as far as we can all possibly go, and that's what he's doing. Yes, like you say, not every run will come off, but just helping the team to get up the pitch is a starting point, and taking all the pressure off us in situations like that. So yeah, I mean, that's what we were crying out for at the start of the season, and we were worried that we wouldn't have it. So to see it happening in front of our eyes yesterday against Wolves was really good and really promising. And I think Gnonto's capable of some of that as well. I think Dan James has got the pace when he's fit as well, to play balls over the top. So we've got a variety of different things that we can do, but it was just good to see what we used to love about Rafinha, let's be honest. Like, that was one of the things that we just were happy to see him just run at 2 or 3 players and get us up the pitch. So yeah, brilliant to watch. Well worth it.
I've just realised now, really, because that was the one thing against Fulham that did annoy me, the amount of balls over the top, like pretty aimless long balls into space, basically to turn them around. I can't remember that happening once. Maybe it happened once or twice, but certainly a lot less. It seemed like we were making a more concerted effort to try and work forward in a more orderly fashion.
To be fair, Steve makes a good point in the comments there about Okafor losing the ball in the right places, and I have to concede that is a good point. And obviously we did concede the goal from him losing the ball, but to that point, I suppose I did credit Wolves with that as well, saying it was just like a pinpoint move. And also I do think our centre backs kind of played a part in that. But I think you're right, Steve. And to be fair, I think Farke is the man to kind of coach that out of him, isn't he? To show him, like, these are the areas to take those risks, not there where we can be opened up. So yeah, good point. And I think Farke has a little bit of work to do in that respect.
At some point, we'll talk about relegation. But speaking of relegation, Bass and Bligh. I thought we'd do it mid podcast advert because they've been relegated because of train split. So the independent photographic dealership in Harrogate with 60 years of history, selling cameras, binoculars, and spotting scopes, stocking Canon, Fujifilm, Nikon, Sony, and premium optics such as Swarovski, Opticon, Leica, and Zeiss. Rocco, say the brand. Come on.
Pentax.
Thank you. They have a fantastic selection of used gear, and they've got an offer on at the moment. When you spend, you can get £10 off when you spend £100. Go on the website, there's a little pop-up, sign up with your email address to get that off. They did have a bunch of Leeds that customers in the shop this week buying gear and also selling some things to them as well. So if you've got some old camera gear, take it in, and Justin will look after you, give you a good price. So yeah,
I'd like to call Justin out, please.
Go on.
After the match, Well, firstly, I should say that Justin is he's one to jump on me when I'm a Debbie Downer, when I'm being all pessimistic after a defeat. And after the match, Justin messaged to say how boring it's going to be if we're just a mid-table team, which I disagree with. I think it'll be much less boring to win more matches than we lose. And but yeah, maybe we will be mid-table. Justin seems to think so.
And if you want to call Justin out on that, folks, go down to 6 Beulah Street in Harrogate.
Or bassandbligh.com and find the email address. Yeah, fill your boots. So, Bournemouth. Anthony Iraola. No, that's a nipple. Iraola. Iraola.
You can like and subscribe for that one.
Yeah. Smash the like button. Yeah, aggressive in the press. A Bielsa disciple, isn't he, Rocco?
He is.
The return of Tyler Adams to Ellen Road. We're playing, I think they're 5th place at the minute as well in the league. I mean, it doesn't mean anything at this stage, let's be honest. But
I think they might even be higher. I think they might even be 3rd, maybe 4th. I don't know. But if we win, we go level with them. And I think we will win.
Oh,
I don't think they're all that. I think it's going to be a fantastic match because Leeds are so good now that they've won a match. And I think we're going to win. And I cannot wait. I'm very, very excited.
4th in the table, Rocco. There we go.
They're 4th, are they?
Yeah. But it's early days. 5th game of the season. Okay. But, I mean,
no problem.
The thing with Bournemouth is...
Watch, even Nielsen. He'll be nothing against Rodon. Yeah. Nothing.
It's Semenyo who worries me after seeing him in the Liverpool game. Just the ability to just run and score is quite terrifying, really. But
does he play on the right? Is he up against Barry Goodmanson?
Yeah, let's just say yeah. I saw him running down the middle, but I'm pretty sure he could probably run on the right or the left as well, Rocker.
They've got Justin Clivert. Is it? Yep. It is Justin. He's not as good as his dad.
He's in the Guinness Book of Records. Do you know that?
What for?
First player to score 3 penalties in one game. A hat-trick of penalties.
Really?
Yeah. I might have made it up, but I don't think I have. I could have dreamt it. Don't think I have.
I'm definitely checking up on that.
Yeah, you can check it. Someone can check it.
Was it?
Don't know. Someone can tell us.
Don't question him anymore.
Yeah, don't question him. Let's move on.
Let's not probe into that one too much. I think the one I'm looking forward to most is Tyler Adams' return. I think he's going to get a very hot reception and a very well-deserved hot reception at Ellen Road. I also think there's going to be a slight tactic tweak for the game. For me, there's going to be an away style of play and a home style of play. And I think our home style of play is very much aggressive, front foot dominant. So I look forward to getting in Bournemouth's face and doing that. And with Longstaff hitting his stride alongside Ampadu, that's a formidable 2 players to be snapping into tackles and getting in your face at Ellen Road. And the crowd will absolutely lap that up. Like if someone leaves something on Adams early on, the crowd are going to go into raptures. So yeah, absolutely get stuck into them, and let's see. Yeah, who knows?
I bet Tyler Adams hasn't had a lot of heat on him in his career from a crowd, and I would love to see him sort of lose his head a bit. Maybe going too hard on a challenge, get sent off, put Bournemouth under pressure, and I would love to see it happen. Yeah, there's a lot of hard feelings from that old Premier League side, isn't there? And at the time, I kind of was like, I sort of get it, but yeah. Sod all of them. Let's go into him.
I think he's the first of the Snakes and Losers to return not in a Leeds shirt, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So that will be good. So if Harrison's still getting booed, then he's, good luck, Tyler.
Yeah. And the thing with him is, it didn't need to end as badly for him because he actually put in a shift that season. And I think we did like him, and he had a bit of a shithouse about him. And, he got injured. I think if he hadn't got injured, there was every chance we could have stayed up because I think we lost that. I think we got relegated midfield, to be quite honest. McKennie and Rock, as I've said before. So he could have left with a bit of pride if he didn't try and threaten legal action against us and all that other nonsense. Just go. You were always going to be sold anyway. Or worst case scenario, 1 season in the Championship. Like, look at Brendan Aronson. He knows himself he should have bloody stayed. So yeah, I hope he gets absolutely hammered because it didn't have to end badly for him, and it was his choosing for what he's about to receive at Ellen Road next week.
It's a weird one as well, wasn't it? Because I'm sure I've remembered this right. Farke's first game against Cardiff, like Tyler Adams, he was injured, so he wasn't playing, but he was like on the pitch afterwards, like, you know, cheerleading and fist bumping all the players like he was part of the team. So it was like, yeah, a really sudden, dramatic turnaround and exit, really.
Sod him all.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
stuck in.
I can't wait. It feels like ages since we've been at Ellen Road, and you do get into this sort of weird social media thing where I think most people that want to stay sane that support Leeds United stay off social media, but curiosity gets the better of you. You go on and people are sort of bickering after a loss, or it's crap. But when you go back to Ellen Road, there's a game at Ellen Road, everything feels like it resets. So a good performance, a point would be good. Like, let's just keep collecting points for fun. Would be fine. If we got a win, like you say, Rocco, that'd be phenomenal. It'd be really
we've
good.
got a really got a pretty nice run of fixtures to come. Got Spurs, haven't we, at home, which won't be easy, but yeah, there's winnable games for us.
There's no nice run. What are you talking about?
Sorry, I'm completely
There are
carried
bad
away.
ones though.
I just want Amorim to stay in as long as possible until January 3rd.
January 3rd, please.
Yeah, finish him off.
If he can stay in that long, I'll say it now, I am confident we'll beat Man United.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got 5 midfielders that walk into their team, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, 4. I think Gruev would play.
All of them, they'd all get in.
Yeah.
Dara, we normally have one more ting from you. Is there one more ting this week?
One more thing this week is a question.
Oh, go on.
There's a question, lads. If James and Gnonto were back fit for Bournemouth, would you start one of them?
No.
Yes.
Which one? Rocco?
I'd start Dan James. Yeah, 100%, definitely. Unlucky Aronson, but yeah, I definitely want James back in. Is there a chance? Do we have any idea? I'm a bit out of the loop.
I don't think James has much of a chance. I think if he's pulled a muscle in his core, it's pretty much every movement of the body, so it's hard to rest because, you know, every time you walk, every time you bend over, every time you go for a pee, it's your stomach is involved.
I assume he's just in bed going, and playing video games.
Pretty much.
Core muscle. That's what I'd be doing. Pot noodles. That's what athletes eat.
So you play Aronson, James? I'm surprised.
Well, it's not that I'd play Aronson, but the question was, do you think he'll get back in? And no, I don't think he will.
Was it? I want a VAR on that.
No, I said if he was fit, if all three were fit.
Would you bring him in?
Oh,
the question, wasn't it?
Well,
Dara?
I would bring in either one of them. I think Aronson has his role to play, and I think it's in away games. I would bring in either Gnonto or James. To the point of James, I don't think he's been fit all season. You remember he came on against Oxford last season? I think, James, you spotted it where he passed the ball. He could have ran, but he passed the ball off to someone else. And you were like, he's not fit. There's something wrong with him. He can't run. And if you look at it, he didn't sprint all season yet until that Fulham game. He sprinted a couple of times and did really well. That one where he burst through the middle. So I think he's been carrying a knock for the first 3 games and then was probably fit for Fulham. So that's the issue, I think, with Dan James. I'd bring him straight back in if I could, but failing that, if Gnonto's fit, I'd bring Gnonto in because I think front foot football at Elland Road rather than the defensive solidity for me. But Aronson has done well.
I'm taking your answer back, James.
No VAR on that, Rocco, so we move on, don't we? I mean, quick answer from me. I think I'd keep it as it is. You know, I think it's worked, so let's try go again with what we've had, and if it doesn't work, we make a change. But yeah, I think
sounds good.
Don't mess with it. I think that's probably it for this week. So thanks everyone for tuning in on the live, and everyone who's been listening on the audio podcast, which is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. And obviously special thank you to TrainSplit for sponsoring the episode. They'll be appearing on the next few episodes. Go to trainsplit.com/Leeds. Leeds 10 for the code to get £10 off any digital rail card, which you can then save tons of money on your train ticket fares. So yeah, thanks ever so much, and yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.
Please like and subscribe.